Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In case you're new to my channel, my name is Amy and I'm an online reseller. What that means is that I go to places like garage sales, thrift stores, things like that. I find items that I can buy for cheap that I can then resell online. I mainly do that on platforms like eBay and Poshmark. I also do a little bit on Mercari and a couple other platforms as well. I'm going to do another What Sold video for you guys today. This one will be from October 15th through the 21st. I have 12 sales I want to go over with you guys. So let's not waste any more time and let's get started. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and jump into these sales real quick. I'm going to put a comp for you as usual on the screen just so that you can see for reference what the item looked like, everything like that. So let's go over the two Poshmark sales first. There's only two that I want to go over. We don't typically sell as much on Poshmark as we do on eBay, so there is usually fewer. Sometimes, some weeks not any at all. And especially on Mercari, we usually don't have very many at all to share with you. Mercari is probably our slowest platform, but every once in a while it will come through for us, and sometimes it comes through with some really good sales. Let's go ahead and get started with the two Poshmark sales that I want to go over, and then we will finish up with the eBay sales that we want to go over. So first up on Poshmark is this Tommy Bahama half-zip sweater for men. We bought this for about $3.09 at our local thrift store, and it sold for $20. Next on Poshmark were these Brooks women's running shoes. These we paid about $2.23 for at the bins, and they ended up selling for $30 on Poshmark. The bins, in case you're new to my channel and have not heard about the bins before, I know most of you, if you're returning to my channel, have definitely heard me talk about the bins multiple times, but I like to tell the new people, just in case they've never heard of the bins, also referred to as the Goodwill outlet, and it's where you pay for everything by the pound instead of paying for each item individually. All right, let's go ahead and get into our eBay sales now. First up are these Asics men's shoes. Paid about $5.33 for these at our local thrift store, and they sold for $25. Next up is this Faherty men's button-up shirt. Paid about $6.18 for this at Goodwill, and it sold for $35. Next is this Christine Stephen King hardcover book. This I found for only 25 cents at a garage sale, and it ended up selling for $24.97. So keep your eye out for things like this. A lot of Stephen King hardcover books can do really well, especially when they're some of his older books. I don't feel like usually his newer ones will do as well, but a lot of his older books, and especially if they're first edition, like this one was, they can go for more money. Some of them will go for even higher dollar amounts than this, but still, to only pay 25 cents for this at a garage sale and then basically sell it for $25 is pretty amazing. So don't sleep on certain books. I don't know a lot about all different kinds of books, but there are certain ones I know, and this is one of those categories that I do know. I know that Stephen King books will sell well, especially if you can find, like I said, his older ones, and especially in first edition. Next up are these John Fluvog, not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, men's shoes. Paid about $6.50 for these at Goodwill, and they ended up selling for $50. So this is a brand I had not heard of before personally, but when I saw them, they looked like a high quality, and they looked unique. These were very oddly shaped, actually. They had a very, I don't know how to describe it, and I don't know that you'll be able to see it that well in the comp picture, but if you go look up this specific model of John Fluvog shoe, I think it was called like the Angel something, they are just like a weird, like they look strange. So anyway, so that caused me to be interested and decide to look them up. And I found that this shoe actually could sell for a pretty decent amount of money. So that's why I picked it up and was able to sell it for $50. So moral of that story is don't ever be afraid to look things up. Some people will say, you know, you shouldn't look things up. You're not a good reseller if you look things up, or millions of other things I'm sure you guys have heard from other people. I say there's absolutely no shame in looking things up. I don't care if you're at a thrift store. I don't care if you're at a garage sale. I don't care where you are. Look it up, because you will find things that you didn't know anything about that you could make some good money on. Like I said, had no idea. Never heard of this brand. Was not familiar with this brand at all. Just decided it looked like good quality and looked unique and interesting. So I looked it up and I knew to buy it. So that's the only way you're going to learn new things, is by looking things up. So don't ever be ashamed to do that. There's no harm in it. Next up are these Timberland women's boots. Bought these for about $3.07 at the bins, and they ended up selling for $28. Next are these pair of women's Crocs. These bought for about $5.10 at Goodwill, and they ended up selling for $23.80. That's another one not to sleep on, guys, and I've talked about it before, but again, in case you're new and haven't heard me talk about it, a lot of people think that Crocs aren't worth anything and that people won't buy used Crocs. Absolutely untrue. I sell used Crocs all the time, constantly. Now, do they usually sell for a lot of money? No, there are certain ones that will. Again, the point of looking things up, and so on and so forth. However, they're usually going to sell at least between the $20 and $25 mark. That's about the price range that you're going to get for most Crocs. Like I said, there are some special ones. Like, I don't know if they're like more special edition. I've never come across any that were worth a whole bunch, but I know some people do sell some Crocs for like 50, 60 and up. But most normal Crocs are probably going to run around the $20, $25 range. So if you can find them cheap enough to make that worth it for you, then absolutely pick them up. All right, next are these Diesel men's shoes. Paid about $9.29 for these at Savers, which this is the first time I'd actually ever been to a Savers. I went on a thrifting trip up north of me, and like I said, I'd never been to a Savers. This was the first time I'd been, and I actually only found a few things there. Their prices were pretty high, in my opinion. Like I said, paid $9.29 for these, which was kind of high, but they did end up selling for $35. So that's still okay. It's probably a little bit more than I would have liked to pay to get $35, but I'm still making a decent profit. So I'm okay with that. And like I said, I mean, this was on a thrifting trip, which I've only done a couple times now, and I'm actually about to go on another one soon, and maybe I can put together a video for you guys of that if you would like to see a video of me on a thrifting trip, going to multiple different stores and hopefully finding some good stuff. So let me know in the comments down below if that's a video you would like to see. I can try to put that together for you guys. All right, next up are these Peter Millar seersucker shorts. These were brand new with the tags. These cost $5.44 at our local thrift store, and they ended up selling for $30. Peter Millar is a really good brand. I'm sure most of you have probably heard of it. It's like a golf brand. And like I said, it was really cool to find these brand new with tags, which doesn't happen very often for me. So yeah, definitely, again, good profit. Next are these Lucky brand boots. These we bought for $3.20 at our local thrift store, and they ended up selling on eBay for $23.98. You'll probably remember these from a recent What Sold video, because we sold these once and then they got returned because the customer said they didn't fit, and now they sold again. And I believe they actually sold for more this time, because I think last time I accepted an offer on them of like $20, and this time they sold for $23.98. So they sold for a little bit more this time, which was actually kind of nice. Hopefully these ones will fit this customer okay, and they'll keep them and it won't be a problem. All right, and finally, the last sale that I want to go over from this time period from eBay was this Micro Machines Military War Series X Flyers. This is like a vintage toy from like 1996. I don't know if you guys remember Micro Machines, but this was still brand new in the package. This actually happened to be something that I had from when I was younger. I've talked about in some other recent sold videos that over the past, I don't know, probably a year or two, I've been selling some of my old toys just because I don't have like an emotional attachment to them. You know, and my mom was trying to get stuff out of her house because she was moving. So she basically was like, you know, if you want these, take them, sell them, whatever. So that's what I did. I was helping her basically clean out her house, found a bunch of my old toys, went ahead and took them, and I've been selling them off. So this was one of those items, and it actually had never been opened, which was weird because obviously when you're a kid, you usually do open your toys and play with them. But there are a few things that I have found in my toys that were like this. They were new in the package for whatever reason. I don't know if my mom had bought like a couple sets. So like my brother and I maybe opened a set of one to play with, and then she kept one. I'm not really sure what happened there. To be honest, that could be the case. Otherwise, this was something we got, and for whatever reason, we just never opened it. Don't know why. But it's pretty cool that I still had this. And basically, so I had no money into it is the point. And it ended up selling for $33. So that's really cool. Something I didn't even have to pay any money into personally at this point in time. And it sold for $33. So, and I've talked to you guys about this before. But again, if you're new or don't know, let me reiterate the point that nostalgia sells. So if you have any old toys from like the 80s, 90s, some even from the early 2000s now, I think are getting more popular. But if you have any old toys or things like that from those kind of time periods, you might want to sell them. Unless you have a personal attachment to it and don't want to get rid of it. Don't get rid of it if it's something that you want to hold on to yourself. I just don't personally really have the emotional attachment to these things. I'd rather just sell them and make the money. Because I don't have room to keep a whole bunch of things like this, so on and so forth. So, if you don't have these things, sometimes you can find them at places like thrift stores and garage sales. I come across some of these type of things every once in a while at thrift stores or garage sales, but not very often. Most of these things have come from my own personal childhood. So, at any rate, just keep that in mind as well. So as you can see, in case you're new again, I am an everything seller. I sell literally everything. I'm not only a clothing seller. I'm not only a shoe seller. I'm not only an electronics seller. I sell literally everything. Anything that I can find that I can make money on, I am going to sell. So that's me. Lots of other resellers don't choose to do it that way. It's up to you what you want to do. I feel like, hey, why not just sell anything you can? But some people like to focus on that one thing. And however you want to run your business is perfectly fine. There's no one right way to resell. So do whatever feels right for you and whatever works best for your business. All right, guys, that's it for today. If you liked this video, please make sure to give it a like. It will help the video, and it will help more people be able to see this video. If you have any comments or questions, make sure to comment down below, and I will answer any comments or questions you may have. Make sure to subscribe. That way, you will always be notified when I post new videos. And like I said, I'm really highly considering this thrift trip that I'm going on soon, making a video about that. So let me know if that's something you want to see. And if you're subscribed, you'll know when I post it. All right, guys. Until next time, keep on hunting for that hidden treasure.